recording. There we go. Okay, we should be live. I'm gonna post announcements. Hello.
Hello.
There we go. There's one announcement. There's gonna be another. Hello. Oh, the chat bubbled. I think that means we're live.
Hello.
I'm gonna post more announcements. Socials announcements. Where is it? Post and post. Here we go. Okay. Hello. With people.
We have beautiful
Alex,
people
Eric.
in the chat.
One person. Another person. Computer user. I had advertisements. Yeah, this is probably ads rolling. Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? Hello. Hey, ads are over. No more ads. Hello and welcome. Can you hear me fine?
Hello.
Hey, you can hear us.
Okay,
Hello.
cool.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Resonance. Sarah's just swimming in the mud.
Yeah, I'm swimming in the ground.
See, like in virtual reality, like you can do anything. You can literally swim in the ground. It's the infinite possibilities. I'm a bit tired, so I kind of made myself cozy here. But yeah, hello and welcome to Resonance. Welcome everyone. Probably getting a few people. Hello. Hello, Doppler. Hello, Amelia Faust. I'm getting more people. So welcome to the Resonance. You can ask anything about Resonite. Make sure to put a question mark at the end of your question. Actually, well, it's gonna be technical in the middle too. But if you put like a question mark in in your message, it's gonna pop on our pin messages thing. That way, like we don't miss it. Also, I'm Froox. I'm here with Cyro, and we're gonna be like answering any questions you have. They might be a bit more rambly today, maybe, because I've been very tired. I've been up for like 14 and a half hours. I've been in Prague for like last 2 days. Like had a friend visiting, so I kind of shifted my sleep schedule around, and now it's not super convenient for this, but we'll try to get through as many questions as possible. We also have a bunch of questions that are from Discord. We're gonna go through those first. Once those are done, we're gonna go to the questions from Twitch. Depending on how it goes, might end this early if I'm like really tired, but we'll kind of see like how the stream goes. So feel free to ask anything. Some questions we might like direct you to some other office hours, like for example the moderation ones or probable primes or the art team ones, but feel free to ask. Worst case, like we'll just redirect you. So what are we gonna want to know about Resonite? It's technology, future, past, philosophy, the theme, like even just personal things. Like if you want to get us know better, feel free to ask. We'll try to answer like to the best of our ability. With that, I'm gonna move the camera. Oh, there's actually also over there. I thought I had it adjusted a little bit elsewhere. Let me see. Actually, no, hold on. I think where did I move it? I'm gonna need to redo the camera. Give me a second. Find a better spot. There we go. Okay. Hello. Hello, Marvin the Fox. So we should be able to start getting through questions. So the first one, this might be a little bit out of order. The first one from where can I put this? The first one from Discord is from Soupish. They are asking, you mentioned abstraction layer for controllers in my GitHub issue. Is this currently planned? And if so, how do you plan to implement this while not breaking everything else? So they're like general kind of plans. They have like a kind of input abstraction system. There's not a specific point in the roadmap yet, but it's something we'd like to add at some point. For not breaking everything else, I mean, it wouldn't like really remove an existing system. So if you build systems that like use specific controller, like those would still be there. This would just provide a better mechanism that we would recommend for new systems to be built with. But like, you know, those systems where like if you want to super optimize something for a very specific controller, those would still be there, so anything that uses those will not break. Next question is from Colin the Cat. Let's see, I'm gonna put this here. So Colin the Cat is asking, some time ago you talked about data modular rework. What are your plans on how to implement it so far? How would fields work under the hood in the implementation? Would it require weaving stuff? Yeah, it will most likely require like weaving stuff. So I'm a little bit like tired for this one to go like super in detail, but there's quite a few plans. The general idea is that like all of the stuff that's now kind of part of the fields would be like separated, so be kind of like managed dynamically. So for example, like on who last changed things, like the version of like, you know, each of the properties, and it wouldn't be like held like indefinitely. You because there's like, you know, a lot of stuff like for bookkeeping, like, you know, who changed what and so on, and like a lot of it could be kind of condensed, or like it's maybe needed for a little bit of time, but now it's just kind of kept like for, you know, essentially forever because it's kind of baked in. It would be stored externally through systems where it's relevant, where the actual kind of components in themselves, they would only have just like the data itself. And then like all the synchronization stuff, like that would be kind of handled, stored and looked up dynamically, and then sort of like, you know, optimized. This would also help, like, you know, so like it doesn't need to instantiate a whole bunch of stuff. There would also be weaving, so like the system would like, you know, for example, for tracking changes, one of the ideas was like, you know, where like there's a bunch of changes in component, it would like mask like a field, and then like it would just check the mask once instead of like, you know, doing like lots of checks on every single access. There would also potentially be like multiple pathways. So like if something's, for example, driven, then like, you know, it's gonna hook up like do more complex mechanism for, you know, accessing that field. But if it's not driven and it can check it ahead of time, it can go with a faster path that is like more optimized. And also for the driving itself, there would actually be mechanisms where like you tell the system, you tell it essentially like, you know, I'm gonna be changing this value every frame. You don't need to track it at all. So that would essentially allow it to use like some of the faster paths instead of like, you know, triggering like the change checking every single time. So there also would be other stuff, like for example, the reference IDs. Right now they're kind of allocated explicitly for each field, but like they would instead be implicit for a lot of the stuff. So like if like a component, you know, component has known amount of fields, then only the component gets this RFID explicitly allocated, and then everything else is like, you know, allocated under that. So like it doesn't need to actually store it for every single thing. It can be like looked up, you know, implicitly. And the system would be able to be like, okay, like this is accessing something that's managed by this owner, meaning like it has like a better way to kind of look up like the fields without having to explicitly register every single one. That will like reduce a lot of the overhead, reduce a lot of memory usage, make things like just generally faster. So I do have like the data model were kind of like worked out quite a bit, like in terms of like the design of it. It's more like matter of implementing it. But yeah, like a lot of the accesses, it will require like weaving to like achieve like high performance. Next question is also from Colin. Colin is asking, let's put this here. Colin is asking, hey Froox, can you add wiggle to Cyrus' glasses, please? It makes him look very serious. I don't know if that would make like Cyrus look very serious. I don't think.
If you wanna.
Do you want your glasses to wiggle?
I cannot deny the audience.
Okay, let's do it. We're gonna be so serious.
We'll be very serious.
So serious. Okay, let's do this. Editing live on stream. It's just like, you know, if you're new to Resonite, you can just do this. I can just, you know, I'm like have an inspector here. I'm gonna attach the wiggler, drivers, wiggler. There's multiple ways to make them wiggle too, so I'm gonna attach wiggler and then I'm gonna... I feel like we should go for like very rapid, violent wiggles, so I'm gonna do... Let's do this 10.
I'll get up closer to the camera so they can see it better.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna do like 10. So yeah, like it's there we go. There I go, very, very serious. You see like glasses, like glasses, you know, like the smart people have glasses, and those glasses are so excited because of like, you know, all the seriousness is just flowing through the glasses right now. Like it's
yeah, they're channeling all of my serious energy.
Yeah. I think they need to channel some more, like, you know, like let's bump it up a little bit more. You know, like this is so serious. So serious.
I'm extremely serious right now.
You know, like let's tone it down a little bit, like maybe just a little serious. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's good.
I'm very serious.
So serious. But yeah, that's I hope that answers that question. Well, I guess the actual answer is just yes, so, but the... next question we got, this one's a bit bigger, where do I put this? Let's see, I hope that's big enough on stream. Kisrol is asking, it's been interesting for me to watch history of tracking tech for VR. Full body has incredibly niche for a long time until it became more standard, and now it's cheap and readily available. The same is in the process for face tracking, I think. I remember when it was ridiculously niche, but now I'm watching average users start using it, and people are starting to build avatars around it instead of a big niche selling point. What would you personally be interested in seeing the next popular and common thing to track, or even specific device instead of a body tracking thing? So I guess, like, you know, that includes like your full body, we have like face tracking, and I assume, like, you know, that includes eye tracking. So I guess, like, the question is like, what would the next thing be to track? Sure, there's like a few things. I mean, like, full body already kind of covers like a good chunk of things. There's like more niche things. There's like, for example, stuff like heart rate, but I don't know if that's like too interesting. Because there's even like some headsets like the HP Omnisip, like they do track like your heart rate.
Someone mentioned pupil dilation, but well, we actually already have
tracking. That. Yeah, like that already falls under eye tracking. So, like, you know, like because based on the question, eye tracking and face tracking, you know, that's already a thing. Full body tracking, already a thing. So, like, what is the other thing that we would track? I guess most things that make sense is, like, you know, more like the like neural like trackers. Actually, no, wait. One that might be interesting would be, it's sort of tangential to heart rate, like tracking, would be more like breathing. Because you could use that for expression, like, where, like, if you, like, inhale, you could, like, map it to your avatar, like, your chest goes up, and then you exhale, your chest goes, out. Because it can be, like, it's more subtle than those two, but I feel like that could, like, add to the expressivity of the avatar, like, if you want to, like, really get a sigh, or if you want to be like, and you just inhale and, like, have it kind of translate, but I don't feel like with the actually no wait. Just one thing. There's one thing like I think that might be even more interesting. It could technically fall under face tracking, but I don't think there's any face tracking hardware that currently tracks this. Tracking, like, if you're, like, blushing. Because I think it might be interesting. That's, like, something that the current, like, face tracking doesn't get. And it might be kind of interesting, if you start, like, blushing, have that, like, actually, like, trigger on your avatar, like, have it translate, because it's, like, something that's kind of involuntary, like, you can't control it. And it could be kind of, cute, like, if you're, like, your avatar suddenly starts blushing, because I remember, like, when face tracking, like, when it was very new, and I got, like, the original Vive tracker, actually rolling on the prototypes, one of the things that just kind of stayed with me when I started using it is, like, when some of my friends, like, they would tell me they like to see me smile, and I would be like, I didn't even realize I'm smiling, it's something happened, like, it just kind of, like, it's subconscious, and somewhere on the other side of the world being able to see that and react to that, like, that to me, like, felt magical. So I feel blushing would be kind of another of those kind of interesting things.
Oh yeah, I know we already have it, but I would personally like to see more development into hand tracking tech, especially because I've been playing with it a lot recently.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have more granular fingers, even in VR, in a way that's not super, like, cumbersome to use.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I wish, like we had, like, a timeline where, like, the leap motion just kind of became, like, part of the headsets.
Yeah, because it's a great device. Like, I've been using it a lot in desktop mode recently, and, like, it tracks your hands really darn good. Like, it's really, really good. Like, I say that as I accidentally grab my controller. But, like, it's, like, so good. Like, I can just, like, and it, like, just
It's
keeps
very
tracking.
robust. But
Very cool.
next question is from Colin. So Colin is asking, when we get perflex assets, does that mean flags could be compiled in asset worker thread, not to cause hitch? So I don't think, like, the asset would necessarily do it by itself. It kind of depends, how it's introduced into the world, because the problem kind of becomes, like, what if you need to run an update? Like, once it's kind of introduced in the world, you might need to, like, have it compiled. You might need to have it compiled, like, by the time, like, you run the update. Otherwise, like, it might misbehave, because, like, you've kind of, like, missed something. So it kind of more becomes, like, a question of, like, like, what is the method to introduce it into the world? And could you, like, for example, say, please, like, pre-warm this, sort of, like, asset, before, like, introducing it. But depending on the mechanism, like, it could, but, like, it's not, like, just automatic, just by it being an asset. It'll depend on a number of things, yeah, like how it's implemented and such. Next question is from Missing. Missing is asking, I ended up not doing anything like that, but would someone be allowed to use Resonance and other office hours clips for MMC? It's actually more of a meta question. I'm not like 100% like versed. I don't know because we don't really like attach a license to these, so I don't think that would work. But like you might ask, like that might be better. Well, I mean it's already over, so the MMC like ended, so I guess that doesn't matter. But that would probably would be a meta question. Let's see. Next one is from computer user fake. Do pictures that are copy pasted from clipboard get synced between clients? When I try to copy paste image, other people don't seem to be able to see it. They can simulate or interact with it though, while images I import from a hard drive are more consistently visible to others. So that's really weird. Like pretty much anything you import should be visible, and like the system doesn't really care how it like like how you bring it in. It's weird because like even like when you paste it from clipboard, what actually happens, it saves the image to your hard drive and then essentially imports it in. So there's not like really any difference like between importing existing image from a hard drive and pasting an image. Like both essentially come from a hard drive. If you're getting that kind of behavior consistently, like that's like you probably should make a bug report.
Yeah, especially if you're on Linux, because I think I ended up doing some of the clipboard stuff for Linux, and so if there's an issue with that, I would like to fix it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what's a little weird is like they would like. It sounds like they see the image and nobody else does, which is like really.
Oh,
That's
it
weird.
would also be good to make sure that this isn't just like some coincidental like.
Yeah.
Every time you've done this, it's been in a session where like the local session queue between users has kind of jammed up, because that can happen sometimes where the assets don't sync between users. It's just it's a known issue, and if that
That's what I
happens,
was
then they won't be able
thinking.
to see.
Like it
Yeah,
might be just coincidence that like the asset queue was jammed in the session and like you just happened to notice this on this. Like you need to like make sure you can actually consistently reproduce this, specifically with clipboard images.
yeah.
But if it's consistent, make a bug report, please. I'll get like one for you. Let's see. I'm gonna this here. Question for Sire: are there any long songs you like? Asking because a while ago I got infected by Mike Oldfield's tubular bells, and I still can I am. Ask Froox, same thing. Resonance with intent to exploit you, but we were suffering from. That's how you pronounce that. And we're in the so I personally think 15 to 20 minutes when I think of a long song, but it's fine if your answer is shorter than that.
Yeah, there is actually a really long song that I like a lot. It's from a game called Starbound, and the track is Mira. I think that is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. I can't remember the first name. I think it's Curtis Schweitzer is the guy who makes that music. I think they also did some Halo music too. That musician is very good. Definitely check them out. But Mira has to be one of my favorites because it just makes me feel things about the universe and the world.
The universe. There you go. Good, more long songs. And the last Discord question is from Fluffy. Oh my god, thank you. Thank you for the subscription, MDF2. Fluffy's asking, I would like to create a personal camera facet. As you already know, the camera component has slot whitelist blacklist feature. However, facets are on the dash, which is in user space. What might you suggest to make cutout mirror facets bonus points we can show nearby users without the environment? Is this even possible? There might be tricky in the user space because you can't like reference the hierarchy of the user to filter out. Yeah. Oh, just. Yeah, I don't think there might be like really a way. Like you might need to like make it in word space, but and have it just like locally enabled for the user.
Yeah. One thing you could do is probably make it in world space and then use like a cloud variable or something to sync the position to like your dash space if you really wanted it to do that, but
Yeah.
that's however you want to do it.
Okay. So that's all the questions from Discord. So we're gonna start going through the questions from Twitch. Feel free to just keep asking more questions as we kind of go. Fair warning, I might get like very tired, like depending how many there are, like because I'm very sleepy. But I'll try to get through as many as I can. But doesn't seem to be too many right now, so I think I should get through those and can kind of keep asking more. But depending on the tiredness, like we might need to like roll some of them over for next week. So the first one is from Arabical. They're asking, do you have any goals for 2026? Like New Year, like resolution goals, or what kind of goals? Development goals or stuff. I usually don't like do like New Year's resolution kind of things. It's just kind of like kind of deal with things and do things as they go without like trying to be like oh it's gonna be this year or this year. Yeah, I don't really like generally think about things that way.
Yeah, me neither. I don't like making New Year's resolutions because not that I don't think I could like follow through with them, but I don't want to put like some arbitrary expectations on myself or others. Because I think that really all you can realistically do every year is just do the best you can. And that's all that matters.
It's also like you want to like just kind of be gradually improving things and making changes. Like you like don't make it like just be beginning of the year kind of thing. Like make it like a thing that's just you're doing throughout the year and it doesn't matter like when the year wraps around, like you just keep doing it. I always like found like it a little bit like arbitrary, like that has to be like around the new year. And next question's from Cobalt Knight. They're asking, is there a feature or building technique that you are surprised hasn't been used very much? I don't really like think of one. Like, I know there's like a whole bunch of things that like people don't use as much, but
I know. Light cookies. I'm surprised more people don't use those.
Yeah.
I don't really see them.
I can do really cool effects with those.
Yeah, like light cookies. Light cookies can literally make like a single light source go from looking kind of like flat and lame to like, holy crap, is this like Unreal Engine? Like, it's insane what you can do with light cookies. Like they're just just imagine like putting like a semi-transparent like projector slide in front of the light. That's a light cookie. They're great, guys. You should use them.
Yes. I think I'm too tired to think of any specific examples myself. Sometimes I remember for me it's usually like when I see people start picking something up and then I'm like, people start like being like, oh, like you could like do this thing, and I'm like, that's been there for years, and that's like where I'm like oh, like this thing, it's been there and people now are discovering the power of it. But it's kind of difficult for me right now, like to think of like one from the top of my head. But yeah, light cookies are like a cool feature.
Yeah.
There's another one we got from Waya Shinzui. Is Sarah still doing that cursed hand tracking over risk mode thing? What do you
Yes,
think?
I am actually, and now I actually rotate around my head pivot,
Oh.
so I'm not rotating around my feet.
Thank you, Papa, for the subscription.
Yeah, thank you.
May
But
the
yeah,
tent explode.
I can move around very gracefully, and I can come up to the camera and say hi. Hey guys, I'm very serious, as you can tell.
So serious. But I found out the seriousness of the glasses a little bit. So it's like, it's a little less serious. Next question is computer users asking, have either of you ever just fallen asleep in the middle of playing Resonite? Many times. There's lots of pictures.
Many a picture.
I've literally fallen asleep yesterday. I was like I got back from Prague and I was like hanging out in the world and I just kind of crashed.
Yeah, I don't tend to really do it much these days because I don't play VR a lot these days. But when I used to play VR a lot more, it definitely happened a lot.
I was be fairly tired, so like usually like my sleep schedule ends up like shifting us in a way that like I end up like jumping out of VR before like get like tired. But if my sleep schedule is aligned like where I get like this, like I get tired, will probably fall asleep in VR. I'll just be like in a world and just doze off.
Yep.
And then like I will wake up and like be like covered with like stuff and I'll eat my headset off and continue sleeping. Next question's from Dynamos is asking, to the best of your wakefulness, what are your favorite cursed blurs? Hello arbitrary object, like hello triangle or in there, but cursed blurs. I don't quite I don't understand the question.
They're asking like what mediums by which do you think, like what is your favorite medium to do like a hello world through that is cursed or blurs? So like for instance, my one that I did recently was I was, I was sending data between my computers using an audio cable. And I wanted to, in my like hello world, was getting a terminal to communicate between two computers using just the audio cable. And that was fun, and I definitely didn't hurt my ears a lot doing that.
Jeez. And for me, it's whatever like one that I'm like working on right now because it's always like that moment of like, oh hey, this works. I don't remember like what I was like working on the split thinning, like those were like interesting, like where I actually started like it was like like rewriting all the systems and everything were like I literally like took everything apart and like then rewrite like a good chunk and then I finally got to the point where the actually first pieces started appearing. Actually no, I had like the even more recent one was the one with the Unity SDK because I'm kind of like working on that one, and we actually the first time I had it send a scene from Unity into Resonite and have it actually appear in Resonite, and I was like that feels cool. Like now it's actually sending stuff because there was a lot of like work prior to that. Like there was like a good chunk of like being in this sort of type system hell where I'm like figuring out like all the nooks for generating bindings and making sure like I'm sending enough data and it's like structured in a way that it can deal with generics. And it took a while just kind of figuring out, and it's very abstract. So it's kind of like, like it's not really do anything, just kind of generating things. And then like it got to the point where it actually shows stuff. Like, like I do something in Unity, it pops in Resonite. That's like, that's a cool moment. And it's kind of, that like, but it's pretty much like, like whatever I'm working on at the time because it means like I got it to the stage where it can work and it's doing things and it's now more fun to iterate on because I can see like I can like every addition I make, every improvement I make, it makes more stuff appear and you get it like audio visual feedback and it's fun.
Yeah, like just like tangentially I like to call that the quote unquote black triangle moment.
Yes.
Because I think you told me this story where it was
Yes.
like a bunch of it's like a bunch of researchers or programmers or something working on a project for like months and months and months, and then finally, they get a single little black triangle to render on the screen, and
And they
it
show
doesn't
it in a
seem really all
meeting.
that.
They
Yeah,
show it in
yeah.
like a meeting, like with a bunch of like, the executives and people, and they're like, it's just the black triangle was exciting about it. And like what I don't realize is like there's so much work that like led to like that single black triangle being able to be displayed. And from that point on, they just kept iterating and adding lots of other stuff. It was actually I heard that story from Pearl Prime because he's the one like who like originally shared it like with me. And I always like it
Okay.
because it is like um it is it happens a lot. It's like like you work on something and then you get something working and like to a layman it looks very basic, but like you as a developer you're very excited because like it's like like it means that like a lot of that like work that was invisible until now is now just became visible, and it's like even something simple actually working means there's so many layers and so many complex systems that actually just began to work for that simple thing to appear, and like and now I can like iterate and do like a lot of cool things and like make it do a little more complex things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, within a day you get colors, within an hour you
Yes.
get textures, and then it all
Yep.
blows up and it's all awesome.
Yep. And the second thing happens a lot like with development, like those are fun. Ace on Twitch is asking, uh, is there any lore behind the tethering mesh that Froox made a few devlogs ago that we should be aware about? I mean, not really. um, the the lore, I'm pretty much the thing is I needed to include like I I implemented like support for like rigged meshes like ones with bones like skin meshes to transfer the unit SDK. I needed to test it and I needed to be able to include a test in the repository itself. Um, the repository is like MIT licensed, so I was like, okay, what can be compatible with this? Like, and I was like, could I like find a model that I can include? And it gets like weird and so on, um, and there's a so I was like, screw it. I'm not gonna be like, finding anything. I'm just gonna like open Blender and I'm just gonna model something super quick. I'm gonna rig it super quick. I don't need it to look good. I just need it to have the data, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and I'm like, I'm don't really do 3D modeling. So like I don't like I'm like if I took time I could probably like model something like way better, but I was like I need something quick. Um, so it's just like minimal effort, rig mesh, make sure it works. And it's pretty much what it is. It's it's also kind of funny because like I can like I don't really do much modeling. Um, so like I can't like do like any other like complex things. I could probably do things that are more complex than this. So like if I took more time, but like still like the level of like people who do 3D modeling like regularly. What's really interesting like for me is like like I know like the I know the mechanics of the 3D modeling, but there's like, this kind of skill part, like where it takes a lot of time to fine tune your skills to like make a really good precise meshes. And it's the part like where I don't have like, as much experience. So I know like, I know how to make like the rig and the mesh. I know how it works like on a technical level, but like I don't have enough experience to like make some really cool looking things. But that one in particular, also I was like, I don't care what like looking good. So I just extruded a few cubes, a roughly humanoid shape, made a super quick like rig, added like a few dumb blend shapes, and I'm like, okay, like, and it was like, I'm just gonna throw it out there if people like curse things, so do curse things with it.
Like the
And
only lore that matters is that they are extremely cool.
cool. I don't know if that's the word I would use.
No, they're cool. They're cool fellas.
The cool files. Actually, I'm gonna just there we go. Like
See,
this.
look how cool
Here's
they
the
are.
guys. Here's the guys.
Like,
like they're
how can you
they're
see this and not think they're fucking awesome?
they're just dudes. Just gonna put them over there. There we go. Like they're full of motion. Do marvel at my. You know what? Actually, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna put them there in the forest. Actually, let me make it bigger. Let's see. There we go. They go in the forest. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. This is, it's where they fit. They're just there, like that they're being friendly. Got another one that's for you. Uh, why are Shinzu's asking where are the blue and green in the bubbles? Grab controls?
Yeah. They're like my little grab like joysticks for the leap motion, because the leap motion has a little built-in pinch gesture that Resonite uses to trigger a grabber, so I can grab things in the world. And these are just sliders, these things. And so the green one moves me laterally, so I can move forward, backward, up, down, left, right. And this one rotates me, so I can pitch and I can yaw. I can't roll, but I don't really need to necessarily, because I can use both of them, and it kind of creates a very smooth experience. I can kind of like float around and come up real close to the camera and say hello, and then I can float back away.
I mean, like, it's like kind of good you can't roll because, if they see you rolling, they hate thing.
I'm gonna,
So they can't be hating when you're done
I'm
rolling.
gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna just. I'm rolling.
Well, no, they're hating.
That's okay. I don't see the haters.
Next question is from Flag3715. Rewarm like hot pocket in microwave.
Exactly.
The hot pocket doesn't get pre-warmed; it gets pre-hotted. You bite into it and it's lava.
Yeah, it's like you bite into it and it's like the surface of the sun in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, the word warm is like not the one I would use with hot pockets. I mean, they don't call them warm pockets. Next question is from computer user. Follow up with the clipboard thing. I didn't make a bug report because it's 1% possible, but it was just because server queue was lagging hard, something like that. I'll eventually get around for testing. Yeah, like pretty much like the main thing is check is it reproducible because it could be just the asset queue got clogged. I'm gonna skip some of the questions because they're kind of asking about the same thing with the controls that we already answered. Verbound is asking, how are you both doing? I'm quite tired. I've been up for over 15 hours now. I went to like Prague, like the firm from Australia visiting. we kind of like hung out a bunch of like in Prague and saw a bunch of things. I took a bunch of cool photos. So it was pretty cool. I actually ended up like meeting like uh some of their other like friends like who are like now like living in Prague.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like Bob was like one of them because like one of them was like also like an Aussie and but they like living in Prague for a few years. But I think like their boyfriend like they're Czech and like we were just sitting there like talking in English. Um, and then like the Czech guy he asked like at some point he asked me where I'm from, and I'm like, oh, I'm like just across the country, and he was like, where are you from, Czechia? And he said like did I don't have like the Czech accent, and he was like kind of trying to figure out like where I'm from based on that, and he was thinking like maybe like somewhere Netherlands or Belgium or something, but I found it funny. I was like, it's like so people were like, saying like it's a little bit harder to categorize now.
Hmm.
I'm rambling.
Well,
How about you?
so. I seem a little irritable recently. I just got some life stuff going on, so don't totally mean it, but it's been a little hard to not let that stress bleed into some of my social life. So sorry if I seem a little prickly sometimes.
Like a pear,
Pears are not prickly.
or prickly pear,
That pears are known for being soft and squishy.
but prickly pear.
I I don't know what you're talking about.
Prickly pear.
I don't know. Chat, what does he mean? What does he mean by this?
Look, I'm gonna bring it in. Prickly pear.
I don't like these.
But it's prickly pear.
These are scary.
You can eat
Those are
them.
scary. Those are scary objects. I don't like those. They're scary.
Prickly pear.
Yeah. I don't, they're scary. I'm scared of them.
You can eat
They're
them.
like they look like cacti. I don't want to eat that.
It is cacti. You
I
can
don't
eat
want to
them.
eat it then. I don't want to eat cacti. I want to eat pears. Not those.
It's prickly pear.
No.
You can make tea out of them.
I don't drink tea.
It could be.
I drink coffee. I don't drink tea.
Prickly coffee.
Shut up. Shut up.
Okay, next question. Uh, Retrowave Hyena's asking, what would you say would be the strangest bug you've encountered is? Oh my god, there's been a bunch, but also I know there's been a bunch. It's gonna take me a bit to like remember specific ones.
I can make a one.
Yeah.
So Froox had me on Froox asked me, hey, do you want to take a look at this really niche protoflux bug? Because I'm busy right now. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I go and I look at it, and it's in this like vector world or whatever for someone's like paper that they did a really, really long time ago. And it didn't seem to have survived the protoflux conversion very well. And so it would like, you would run the thing, and it would cause an out of range exception. And it was because the protoflux runtime was reading outside of the stack for an unknown reason. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like redoing this like thing to make it crash over and over again and stepping through it with the debugger. And I eventually narrow it down to a very particular part of the protoflux group that's duplicating. So while it's running, it fires a dynamic impulse, it duplicates another part of the group, and then that group connects itself to the running group and causes the stack size to reevaluate while the thing is executing. And so, since the stack size is now wrong when it transitions to that dynamic impulse, it just starts reading outside of the array, or it wants to, and it causes the crash. And so this was a case of accidental self-modifying code, which was an extremely fun bug that took me like a week and a half to figure out.
You know, when you were saying that one, I actually just remembered one, and Retro actually already knows about this one because I talked like to him like before about this in World. But this one has to do with Unity, and it's to do with the Unity video playback. Should wonder if Retro's asking because of the reason. So what happens? Unity has its own native video player. And it has an API where it can fetch the audio data. So it can be like, you can ask it like, like how many audio samples you have, for like the video that's playing. So we can then like, extract it and then actually play it. And you essentially say like, please give me this many audio samples. It's, for example, says I have 1,000 samples available. So you can go and tell it, please give me like 1,000 samples. And it's going to give you 1,000 samples. And then you can, play one, we can play the 1,000 samples. But that's where the problem lies. If Unity tells you you have 1,000 samples, and you read 1,000 samples, immediately afterwards, it's gonna say, I have 64 samples. Like right away, and it's always gonna do it if you like read all of them instead of 0, because you just read 1,000 samples. It took a while to discover this, because when I was doing the splitting, I kind of changed how the audio is actually working, because like it needs to be actually transferred from one process to another. So if we just try to drain as much audio as fast as it can from like the Unity side, move it to the Froox engine, where the actual audio engine lives, and where the audio gets processed, filtered, and rendered out. But when I started just like reading the audio data as fast as possible, for some reason, the videos like the audio would just start jumping, and I would like be doing lots and lots of debugging, and eventually I found, for some reason, if you have like audio, video with audio that has 48 kilohertz, you would expect to get 48,000 samples per second, because matches 48 kilohertz. Instead, it was giving 50,000, something along that. It was giving slightly more audio data than like you would expect, and it was just coming out of nowhere. And I ended up finding out it's because when you read all of the audio data, Unity would immediately, instead of it going to 0, Unity would just make some audio samples, specifically 64 audio samples, and then you read those, and it's just a repetition of some audio samples from somewhere, and then it would become 0. So it was just generating if you try to read it all the way to 0, it would it would essentially just suddenly magically make extra audio. It gets weird though. So I was thinking, okay, it leaves it does it only happens if I read all the way to 0. It just suddenly 64 samples. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave a few samples, and I think I tried very little, maybe 8 samples, and it completely fixed the problem. So I set it to if Unity tells me I have 1,000 audio samples available, I'm gonna ask it, please give me 1,000 samples minus 8. Leave 8 samples in. And when I did that, it completely fixed the problem. Now the rate of audio data I was getting was 48 kilohertz, the audio stopped skipping around. Seems fine. Really weird, but that fixed the problem, leaving 8 out. But I was well, 8 is a weird number, and actually, I even tried another thing. I tried leaving 1 sample in. that also worked. If I left just one sample in, it would also work perfectly fine. But I was like, well, it always like made the 64 samples. Maybe I should like make that be the number. So I said, like, I specifically wrote it to leave exactly 64 samples after reading audio. So like if Unity was like, I have 1000 samples available, I would ask it to give me 1000 minus 64. So there would be 64 samples left. When I did that, Unity would crash every single time. Like, for some reason, it just really, really hates having 64 samples exactly left in the buffer after reading it. And I even tried, if I do a 63, works fine. Try 65, works fine. Leave 64 in, Unity crashes. Like, very, very reliably. If I leave one sample in, completely fine. 8 samples in, completely fine. 64 is the magic number where it just crashes. So I changed it back to like 8. I could have just let it at 1, but like I was a bit OCD about it, so I was like at least I want it to be power of 2. That's like not 2 or 4. But it is like one of those weird things that like took a while to figure out, and I was like I was just like, why is this a thing? That's the weirdest thing. And I left some comments in the code about it, being like we need to leave a few samples. We need to leave, like, you know, we're setting it to 8, because if you leave 0, then we're gonna magically get more audio than there really exists. And we also need to make sure not to leave 64 specifically, because then Unity crashes. But one thing that made me kind of happy about it is, like, with the previous system before splitting, I'm pretty sure it was actually responsible for some random crashes with video playback. Because the previous system, it would just like try to read like however randomly, you know, it would need at the time, so it would leave various amount of samples, you know. Sometimes it would read 200 samples, sometimes maybe it would leave like, you know, 5 samples, and sometimes it would manage to leave 64, at which point Unity would crash, and it would just kind of happen, you know, randomly. And we didn't know about it because, like, you know, how do you even find it out, like, you know, at random? But during the splitting, I noticed like certain patterns when I was logging, you know, the state of the buffer. And this is when I discovered, like, you know, like you can't leave 64 samples in the audio buffer because it explodes. So that's probably one of the weirdest bugs that I've encountered.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's very cursed, and I left some comments in the code, just be like, why? There's actually a few more, but I don't want to ramble too long about these, and like all of them are actually related to Unity.
Yeah, there's just so many incidental behaviors in that engine, it's crazy.
It's painful. Foolish snow mew. Snow meow? I have not messed with light cookies in years, but vaguely remember them being limited to grayscale instead of being able to use color from texture. Is that still true? Yes.
Speaking of Unityisms, that's one of them.
Yeah.
If you want color light cookies, you have to use a different pipeline.
But then also use other stuff.
Yippee.
Nikikon's asking, I am planning the next couple of months use of development, looking for inspiration. Can you, including chat, name some random things that interest you in furry sci-fi? Plots, technology, aesthetics? I mean, I really like hard sci-fi, like high concept sci-fi, like some very like deep physics concepts, I guess.
I got nothing.
Baplar. Do the clay creatures have names? I mean, could name them. So that one's quart floors, that one's and that one's.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. Now try spelling those.
Mm.
Nikikun's asking more for sci-fi questions, setting aside issues which do people in stream prefer, stories about humans, technology has given animal bodies, animals, technology given human brains. I mean, I don't really know, like, you might want to go ask, like, more in Discord and such, rather than, like, in the chat here.
Yeah, no input, sorry.
Oh no, Sarah doesn't know about prickly pear, the best kind of pear. Look, you can eat it.
What?
You can
Let's
eat
just
it.
move on.
Let's see. Yo boy? What's your
Yo-yo
opinion?
boy,
Yo boy?
I
Yo
think.
boy?
I don't know.
What's your opinion on proliferation of age verification systems in platforms like Discord, VRChat, and what do you think Resonite might end up having something similar? So there's like a few things. One of them is like, there's obviously kind of like, legal things. Like there's like certain legislation being introduced that requires some of it, which is a little bit concerning because like it kind of, pushes companies to do it. And like we at some point will also be probably required to do some level of like age verification, at least like in some regions. The other aspect is, the companies and systems that the different, companies are using, because some of them have like a number of concerns with, like, with privacy, and kind of connections to like, connections to like companies or technologies that end up like leaking personal user data, which is usually problematic. And it's like, the other aspect of it that like I feel is like one of the kind of big ones. The last part of it is like, it like on itself, like on paper, it can be like a really good tool for, moderating your spaces. And that's something kind of like, what we would want to kind of focus on is where it is a tool that like, that makes things easier for people hosting sessions. So if you want like host session, where we want to make sure everybody's above like certain age level, this gives you a tool to like, do that without having to do your own age verification. Now, how that's actually achieved, like whether like, and making sure that it's done through companies that do have like good standards, that that are like don't end up like leaking your data, that is the difficult part. And generally, like, we probably want to like, look into mechanisms to do that like maximize privacy. And that like where there were no like, incidents like that, where they had like, a good track record of actually being like, privacy oriented. Like I don't not too like well versed with like, what options are available there right now. I hope it's kind of like, for potentially European companies, because like, in Europe you have like a lot of like privacy oriented laws. There's like, stuff like GDPR and so on, so that it tends to be a lot more strict about it. But again, I'm not like too like well versed about it. But pretty much, do I kind of feel about it is like, like I feel like some of those like companies, they're not doing it as a tool to help the users. They're doing it more either being like pushed into it by legislation, and they also feel they're not placing as much like thought and importance on maintaining user privacy. And to me, like, that's like the problematic part. It is something that, like, I think could be handled, like, kind of better. And that should be handled by making sure those things like the user privacy and making sure it is a tool for the users, are like, your kind of like priorities for implementing such system. And when we do like introduce like some kind of system like that, that's what I want us to kind of focus on. I don't have anything more like to say about it like right now, but yeah, that's pretty much like it's kind of like, always like try to kind of separate the kind of technology and the reasons it's added and how it's being added and the implementation of it from like, like the what can it bring and how, kind of like it can it be done, like what is like, the value like for people using it. But it's definitely like, the way we've seen it kind of like happen, because like for example, we mentioned Discord, like, with that it's the big issue is, they very recently had like data breaches, and that doesn't really give you much confidence, in how it's implemented. Same with like, some of the companies, they would like say like, they don't keep the data, that they delete it, and then it was discovered like that's actually not true. And that also like, doesn't give you confidence in those things. And I feel like if those things were actually like, properly prioritized and like they were like one with like, privacy kind of oriented like solutions, it would be a very different kind of conversation, and it would be like a lot better for like, users' trust. But the trust was kind of like, broken. The solution was kind of forced on. And that's kind of like, like a lot of the problem lies, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so that's all the questions we got from Twitch right now. What time is it? We've been going on for an hour right now. I'm getting pretty tired, but like I could do like maybe a few more, but if there's not really many questions, we're probably gonna end it here.
Yeah.
I would probably do some of the like socials, but like, stuff that people have shared, but like a lot of it's gonna be MMC right now, and until like the judging is actually done, we're not gonna showcase or promote any specific entries to avoid giving anyone like, unfair advantage. So probably not gonna do that right now. Because all of the content, oh shit, there we go. All of the content is a lot of the content is MMC related, and some of it I don't even like, might not know if it's like MMC, but yeah, a lot of MMC stuff, which is like really cool to see, but we're gonna avoid promoting it for now. I would have a question. Phoenix Bird Creatures asking, has anyone been making Blender Resonite link? Yes, I've seen like one repo by Nitra. They've been making a Resonite link. I know Chuck the Fox out here, they made like a Python library and I want to work on Blender things, but I don't know if it's gonna be separate or not.
I believe that's what Nitro was using to do that.
Really planning on top of that. I wonder if we already included that in the community projects. Yeah, it is. So go to the Resonite link. Go to the Resonite link, like GitHub repo, and under the Python section, there's the Blender Resonite link. So check that out. But yeah, I know I've seen like they posted like some of the stuff as well. Nice. But the answer is yes. I also got questions from Tanoshiro Kiki. Wow, that's a cool question item thingy. We are using the Twitch Chat Pro by Check the Fox Otter. It's like this thingy. Our questions, like it shows like stuff and also the questions they pop in. It's very neat. It's been making these streams a lot easier to do.
Thanks, Jack. Hard.
Yeah. I think we went to sleep because they were like finishing their MMC stuff from what I heard.
Yeah, I heard like one of my friends did like a 15-hour crunch last night.
Yeah, people need to snooze. But yeah. Speaking of, could talk a little bit about like, the stuff I've been like making, which is the Unity SDK. And I can actually show some of the devlogs because I've been like posting those and like I'm actually getting like pretty good like reactions to them.
It's by
Let's
Jack the
see.
Fox Otter.
So
Sorry, I was just answering a question in the chat real quick.
So I've been like working on the Unity SDK and which essentially lets you, it opens up like a whole new like way to like build for Resonite, which is, for people who don't want to use the in-game building tools or like, maybe not too familiar with them, maybe not as comfortable with them, or maybe you have like existing content made in Unity, whatever the reason, Unity SDK, opens a new workflow that you can use for Resonite. And I'm kind of like working on it, and like I made it like work like real time as well. So like like if you change something in Unity, it changes in Resonite in real time, and you can even have like other people in the session, and they see whatever you're making. It's very fun, to play with already, kind of. It's still kind of not quite like usable for everyone yet. It's kind of work in progress, but I've been getting like a lot of kind of good like reactions on this, and it feels kind of like magical a bit, like just making changes in Unity editor and it just being reflected in game, like in real time, and everyone else in the session can like see whatever you're doing as well, which you can do fun things with by just moving platform from underneath them. But yeah, I've been getting lots of kind of like positive reactions to this, and one thing I found like really interesting is like a lot of people, especially with the real-time stuff, they've been like realizing the power of Resonite and like the real-time collaboration, and it made me kind of think is that the Unity SDK, it's sort of like the way it feels to me, it's kind of becoming like an icebreaker for a lot of people. Because a lot of people, like, they were kind of like tangentially kind of interested in Resonite, but they really didn't want to like get into the platform because they just not feel comfortable doing the in-game, editing tools. Or maybe they want to bring their avatar, but they don't want to spend time like, resetting up their avatar in-game when they already have it set up in Unity for other platforms. And the SDK, the Unity SDK, sort of opens the door. It kind of, it breaks the ice and makes people realize, the power of this platform. And it kind of makes me like, makes me kind of happy, that like I feel like this can potentially help us get like a lot more users and get a lot more people interested in creating for the platform. It gets, people sort of like, foot in the door. And once people start making stuff through the Unity SDK, they will play more, on the platform and like maybe discover more of the in-game editing tools and maybe start incorporating more of that into the workflow. So it's been kind of interesting, seeing the reaction I've been getting to this so far, and the SDK is getting quite close to like having this sort of like first like alpha or beta or whatever release. Like, this is so sad. And being able to like to start using it, so I'm kind of excited for it, like getting out there. It's getting very close to the point. Okay, so I don't think we've got any more. I'm gonna show more videos. In case if you get any more questions, feel free to ask. But if there's not much questions after this, we'll probably end the stream. Here's another one. I was like, because like it synchronizes in real time. You could literally be like, running this on Steam Deck, and I will like whatever I do in the unit editor, it just translates on the Steam Deck live, and you can have like other people in there. Which like it just works because it's Resonite, and Resonite synchronizes everything by default. But like I feel like to a lot of people, I guess this can be kind of magical. You can like assign materials, you can update materials, you can like edit like pretty much anything. Lights. It just works. Change the colors, and it just kind of translates it. And another cool thing, the SDK it's open source. Like you can go to the repo and you can like see how it's made. And you can like once it's ready, like we'll be also accepting contributions, so people we can help us improve it and improve the conversions. Make it convert more things, or even like use it as a basis for your own. Like I would love like for people to make like Godot SDK or Unreal SDK and use this as a basis, like a reference implementation. So I'm very excited with it. We also go another questions from Baplar. On a scale from Boo to EP, how excited are you to visit this year MMC Worlds? Definitely EP. I'm very curious like what stuff people make. I'll try to like my goal is to go through everything again, so we'll see. I'll record myself going through everything and like publish afterwards. But yeah. Okay, so I'll just help me on. Don't have like any more questions, so I think we'll probably end this here.
Yeah.
Pretty tired and gonna ramble. So no more questions. Okay, so thank you very much everyone for watching. Like congratulations everyone on finishing your MMC entries. Kinda excited like to see like all the stuff like you guys made, and like everyone for supporting Resonite. Whether it's like just playing the platform, making cool content, or supporting us on Patreon or Stripe. If you're on Patreon, please consider switching to Stripe because we get about 10% more money out of that. So thank you very much. Gonna see if anybody's currently streaming.
I'll slowly inch forward towards the camera creepily.
Resonite. Let's see. Anybody streaming Resonite? I've got a creator jam, it seems. I don't think anyone else is streaming right now. So we're gonna send you over to creator jam. So say hi to Mantra.
Bye everyone. See you around.
Surviving EP. There should be less EP next. Next week. I'm probably gonna like shift my sleep schedule. So looks like it is ready. So thank you very much and see you next time.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the stream and I'm gonna stop the recording.